very good evening and welcome to News Watch tonight on Hope TV. Thank you so much for joining us for the latest updates. My name is Tonny Omondi and our sign language interpreter is Fiona Mweresa. Let's begin with our top stories tonight. Now, despite the ongoing campaigns to popularize the quest and amend the 2010 Constitution through the Building Bridges Initiative, BBI, a new survey shows that the BBI referendum would fail if it were conducted today. The research, which was conducted last December by TIFA Research Company, indicated that 32% of Kenyans would vote no to shoot down the amendments and only 29% would vote yes. Now, this follows the letter by Senate Majority Whip Irungu Kang'ata to President Uhuru Kenyatta saying that BBI is likely to be rejected in the larger Mount Kenya region due to little popularity, a letter that has elicited mixed reactions in the political arena. Our current affairs reporter Dickens Livanda begins our bulletin tonight.
A latest survey poll by Trends and Insights for Africa TIFA Research Company about the BBI's quest for a referendum is likely to send the BBI proponents back to the drawing board. The survey indicates that if a referendum was to be held today, majority of Kenyans at 32% will vote it down, compared to 29% who will vote to support the initiative.
Now has infected.
TIFA researchers Tom Wolf and Maggie Ireri released their findings on Friday, which also revealed that another 26% of voters said they will not participate in the BBI referendum push, with 16% of Kenyans being unsure if they will vote for it or not. 19% of the 1,550 respondents said they will approve the referendum since it supports release of more funds to counties, while 15% agreed with the Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Minister posts for inclusivity purposes. 5% of Kenyans will vote yes because of the benefits to the youth. Another 5% will support it due to the position of the leader of official opposition, while 40% had no specific reason given. 32% who will vote no said they will vote so because they lack enough information on the BBI proposals, with the 20% of the respondents saying conducting a referendum now is a misplaced priority, given other challenges that the country is facing.
This process has phases.
Already, the IEBC is verifying over 4 million signatures, which were collected in support of the BBI, with the Deputy President William Ruto leading a team that is opposed to the whole push for a referendum, whose proponents want it to be conducted this year.
Why do Kenyans not want it? Why are you being told, do it together with the general elections? How are you going to do it with the general elections? Already you have got 6 ballots. You want to add another 7 to the illiterate voter? That will not work. We will do it before the next general election.
Dickens Livanda, Hope TV News Watch.
Now, clinical officers across the country have begun a fresh strike after failing to reach an agreement with the Council of Governors that on Monday distanced itself from a return-to-work formula signed between the union and the Health Ministry. The clinical officers under the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers, KUCO, had given the COG 3 days to sign the agreement, failure to which they would proceed on strike. Meanwhile, the Kenya National Union of Nurses and NAN has called upon the intervention of President Uhuru Kenyatta on Medic's situation to ensure amicable resolution of this strike. Mark Kimondo has this report.
Services in various public hospitals in the country were on Friday paralyzed as clinical officers across the country under the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers began a new strike over the Council of Governors' failure to sign the return-to-work formula. The medics had given CUG a 3-day ultimatum that elapsed in this Friday. Addressing the media on Thursday, the union said it will conduct a nationwide peaceful demonstration on Monday to further coerce counties to accept the agreement.
The Council of Governors have decided deliberately to frustrate the clinical officer and indeed frustrate the decision of the state, the head of state, to ensure that there is no mercy in the public sector.
COSUS Secretary General George Gibore cited intimidation by the Council of Governors as one of the reasons for downing their tools.
Calling off of the strike was based on execution of the return to work formula. And so once we signed the return to work formula with the Ministry of Health, that is through the CS, the strike in the facilities under Ministry of Health was called off. But for the facilities under the 47 county governments, the strike is still in force because they never executed the return to work formula.
The clinicians had called off their strike 7 days ago, hoping that both parties will agree to the return to work formula and begin implementation. Meanwhile, the Kenya National Union of Nurses, led by the Union Secretary General Seth Panyako, has faulted the Council of Governors of doublespeak. The union says that the CUG was part of the ongoing negotiations between the union, Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Labour, and so it's unfair to say that it wasn't involved in the agreement. Things are not getting better in Mombasa County as private doctors have opted to join the 86 doctors who were sacked for failing to resume work during the December health worker strike, a move aimed at compelling Mombasa County government to reinstate the dismissed medics.
Unfortunately, during that time, there was a court order that was issued for an ongoing strike that was a national strike. That is, the employees under the national government. They had gone on strike, and they had the Ministry of Health had gone to court to seek orders compelling the national employees to go back to work.
Despite COVID-19 pandemic revealing the importance of health workers during this time, many are yet to be financially compensated. Kenya Medical Practitioners Pharmacist and Dentist Union KMPDU Secretary General Dr. Chibanzi Mwachonda has condemned the CUG for politicizing medics' welfare. While addressing the media on Friday, Panyako denied claims by the Council of Governors that counties have no money to fund their return to work formula. The frustrated medics decried the government's failure to provide them with a comprehensive medical insurance cover, among other things bargained in the return to work formula. The government is in for another showdown in the health sector as different unions work in solidarity to compel the government meet their demands. Kimunda for Hope TV, Nairobi.
Now, as the race for the next Nairobi governor gains momentum, the United Democratic Alliance UDA party has nominated former Starehe MP Bishop Margaret Wanjiru as its bearer in the Nairobi gubernatorial by-election, tentatively set for February 18th. The Deputy President William Ruto allies, including Lang'ata lawmaker Nixon Korir and UDA chairperson Johnson Muthama, handed Wanjiru a ticket at an event held at the party's headquarters in Nairobi. As our reporter Grace Ongoi tells us, Wanjiru will now face a former Kiambu Governor Ferdinand Waititu in the race and may as well face lawyer Miguna, who was nominated by the Third Way Alliance Party.
The United Democratic Alliance, UDA, which is allied to Deputy President William Ruto and his political allies, has for the first time ever unveiled candidates for the upcoming by-elections. Margaret Wanjiru, former Starehe lawmaker, has been nominated to vie for the Nairobi gubernatorial post, despite the by-election slated for February 18th by the IEBC being temporarily halted by the court.
We are here today to perform the duties that has been performed before through other political parties. There is nothing new. There is nothing strange with what we are doing. Many of us, we have been in different political parties. Many of us, we have been in different coalitions. Some could not manage to get us where we wanted to go. So there is beginning of everything, and there is an end of everything.
The Nairobi gubernatorial by-election race has attracted several candidates, including Miguna of the Third Way Alliance Party and former Kiambu Governor Ferdinand Waititu, who was okayed by the IEBC to vie as an independent candidate.
Governor, although kuna ile shida kidogo hapa na pale, lakini ni woga hiyo, ina watu wameona kwamba kumbe tuko tayari namna hiyo. Maana Wanjiru tukimpa hiyo bendera yule tutampa itakuwa ni mswaki tu.
We do not fear competition. We have a candidate here in Margaret Wanjiru. We win or we lose, that is the part of democracy. But let us not bend the rules so that we can avoid competition. We are ready for competition. We want to tell our friends in Jubilee Party, whom we are members of that Jubilee Party, we need to come to the floor, we compete. If ODM has surrendered, they get out of it. In any case, it will be a competition between one room of Jubilee Coalition to the other room of Jubilee Coalition.
Nairobi, we don't want side shows. We don't want shortcuts. We want a by-election. Now, for me here, I have my certificate, and that means I am ready to go. Sasa mwenye ambao anafikiria anaweza kuwa Nairobi governor, mkimwona mumwambie tukutane kwa uwanja.
Other candidates unveiled include Evans Kakai for the Kabuchai constituency mini poll, Alex Lanya for the Matungu constituency by-election, while Anthony Washira, Jonathan Warodhe and Moses Nyakaremba have been picked for London Ward in Nakuru, Hell's Gate Ward in Nakuru, and Kiamakoma Ward in Kisii by-elections respectively.
Kazi ni kazi, hasla. UDA. Kazi ni kazi. Kazi ni kazi.
Addressing the press, UDA Chairman Johnson Muthama said the party will embark on a countrywide grassroots drive to register members in an effort to strengthen the party. Tanga allied politicians who are linked to the party, including Senators Kipchumba Murkomen, Susan Kihika, Kithure Kindiki and MP Kimani Ichung'wah were present during the unveiling, where they vowed to work with the party.
We have found a home that is for all of us. Nyumba yenye haina madharau. Yes. Nyumba yenye kazi ni kazi.
Yes.
It does not matter what you do.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter if now you are pushing a wheelbarrow. You can in the future have a motorbike, and then have a vehicle, and then have a lorry, and progressively get to a chopper even.
Kwa hivyo chama cha UDA, being an affiliate party of Jubilee, sisi tuko tayari tukikaribishwa hapa kuja kufanya kazi na wewe na chama cha UDA, Mheshimiwa Muthama. Wale waliotufukuza wakatuambia sisi ni persona non grata Jubilee headquarters, sasa tuko na affiliate party ya Jubilee ambayo yuko na makao makuu mazuri na ambayo yakaribisha Wakenya.
Every person who is here, sisi kama members wa Jubilee sahi tuko tayari kuhamia ili room ya UDA, na naomba chairman hapa Muthama, tengeneza vizuri, karibisha sisi. Wewe kuja mawindoni penye tuko, ukitupatia blanketi na mahali pa kulala, tuko tayari kuingia hii chama.
Grace Wangoi, Hope TV News Watch.
Meanwhile, former Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko's nominee for the position of Nairobi Deputy Governor Anne Mwenda Kananu will now be vetted by the County Assembly following the withdrawal of a petition that barred the County Assembly from proceeding with the vetting exercise. Through a public notice on Thursday, the Nairobi County Clerk Edward Gishana invited members of the public to attend the approval hearing. Mwenda's nomination had been challenged by a Nairobi resident, Peter Adhiambo, after her nomination in January 2020. Kananu's vetting will proceed after the High Court allowed the withdrawal of the application by Adhiambo after the petitioner said he is no longer interested with the case. According to the notice, the nominee is required to collect vetting documents from the office of the clerk and return them with copies by January 11th. She will appear before the Assembly on Friday, 15th of this month. The twist now puts the gubernatorial by-election in limbo, with lawyers saying a by-election is inevitable. Mwenda is the current County Disaster Management and Coordination Chief Officer.
ID number 2.
And more than 100 rural health facilities in Siaya County are set to benefit from a multi-million shilling solar energy project that aims at enabling them to automate medical records. Speaking during the flagging off of the solar panels and equipment, Siaya County Executive Committee member for Health, Dismas Wakla, said that the project funded by the Center for Health Solutions, CHS, will benefit 119 health facilities spread across the county's 6 sub-counties. Wakla said that the 23 million shilling project will see installation of solar power to health facilities that are off the national grid and those that experience errant or frequent outages.
We have COVID-19, and the world is doing everything to ensure that we have vaccines for this pandemic. Already we now have vaccines, and Kenya is in the process of procuring these vaccines. From what has been shared with us, these vaccines will require to be stored in extremely cold conditions. We know where we are is the opposite of that, because we are in the tropicals, and you can see even the scorching sun that we are standing in. So therefore, with power in our rural facilities, and this solar will be able to service fridges. Therefore, that will enhance our storage, and therefore when we roll out vaccination for COVID, and indeed even the other immunizations that we are currently undertaking, this comes as a great advantage.
With that story there, let's take a short break on Newswatch. We'll be back with more. To stay with us.
Fat or thin, and for me, I don't consider myself fat. I consider myself good for my purpose, to hug women. When they come crying and they come and hug me, they just come and I hug them and they cry and cry and cry until they are comfortable.
We praise together, we praise Him.
The shortest chapter in the Bible is Psalm 117, which says, "The Lord's truth endures forever." Now that word truth in the Hebrew language is emeth, and the Jewish scholars and doctors tell us that that word's really interesting because it contains the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, Aleph, the middle letter of the Hebrew alphabet, Mem, and the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet, which is Tau. And they say that's because the Alpha and Omega has a truth that is our comfort all in all from A to Z. In the same way, the Bible says that God is the author and the finisher of our faith. Paul said, "He who began a good work in you will be faithful to finish it." Now that word for finish or complete is the word telestai in Greek, the same word that Jesus used on the cross when he said, "Te telestai, it is finished." Paul hijacked that word and was saying, as surely as Jesus carried his cross to completion, so too the Alpha and Omega will telestai, finish the work that he's begun in you. God is not just somebody who starts a project, he's somebody who finishes it to perfection. He's faithful all in all from A to Z, the Alpha and the Omega.
Join us every Sunday for unlimited, uplifting, powerful worship. Only on Extended Worship.
Join John Carson every weekday as he takes us on a journey through the Bible.
Whoever shall seek to save his life, if you go back to living for yourself, you're going to lose it. But whoever shall lose his life, give up his life for my sake, he shall preserve it.
Enjoy interesting, knowledge-packed, yet simple teachings through his humor and in-depth understanding of God's Word.
The last people that tried to put God in a box, literally, he rose again. He wouldn't stay in their compartment. If God was small enough for me to figure out, he wouldn't be big enough for me to worship.
Tune in to Hope TV for John Cousin every 10 p.m., 4 a.m., and 10 a.m. weekdays on Hope TV, where you look and live.
Our Christian life is not just about God always stepping in when you are in trouble. But sometimes you need to go through the valley of the shadow of death, and God will say, angels, stand away. He must go through that. She must go through that. Because out of this would come something greater and more beautiful.
Happy New Year, guys. This is Sharon Prem. I'm excited to be with you today.
Happy New Year, guys. My name is Francis Einstein Jr. I'm very excited to be here too.
This coming Sunday, we have a lesson for you that relying on God's grace.
The timings are from 8:30 to 9 in the morning.
Make sure you catch it on Hope TV and Hope FM.
And CTUM Church online. It is the second lesson of our team this year, destined for the next level. And we'll see you there. Bye.
Welcome back to Newswatch. Now to COVID-19 statistics. The country has recorded 221 new coronavirus cases in the last 24 hours after testing a sample size of 6,190. The total number of cases in the country now stands at 97,954. Of the new cases, 201 are Kenyans, while 20 are foreigners, with the youngest being a 4-year-old child, while the oldest is 85. According to a statement from the Ministry of Health, 627 patients are admitted in various health facilities countrywide, and 2,191 are on home-based isolation and care. In the last 24 hours, 365 patients have recovered from the disease, with 364 coming from the home-based care program, while 11 were discharged from various hospitals across the country. Total number of recoveries now stand at 80,671. At the same time, the number of fatalities has risen to 1,703 after one patient succumbed to the disease. The distribution of today's cases by counties: the top 10 are Nairobi, that leads with 81, followed by Meru with 35, Isiolo 22, Mombasa 16, Kisumu 10, Kitui 9, Nakuru 7, Busia 6, Kisii 6, and Lamu 5. Mombasa Governor Ali Hassan Joho has called on residents of Tana River County to support the Building Bridges initiative in an effort to unify the coastal people. Joho said it's time for the coast residents to sing one tune and bring development and good leadership in the region, which has been marginalized since independence. Joho was speaking after holding a consultative meeting with the elders of Garsensad County, Tana River County, where they reiterated the need for coming together as a country and as a people united by a common purpose.
Ndio tukiunganisha Kenya, na tuko katika msururu wa kuunganisha Kenya. Ajenda yetu ni kuunganisha nini? Kenya. Tutaunganisha hii taifa, lakini hatuunganishi tu kwa niaba ya wengine. Tunaelewana? Tunaunganisha sisi wenyewe tukiwa ndani kabisa ya mazungumzo ya kuunganisha Kenya. Tumekubaliana? Tumekubaliana hapo? So nataka niwaambie ndugu zangu hapa wa Pwani, msisikize fitina za watu, msisikize propaganda za watu, msisikize chuki za watu, msisikize matusi ya watu.
Meru Governor Kiraitu Murungi says that his support for BBI is purely based on the proposed 35% share of the national revenue allocation to counties because it will boost development in the grassroots. He said his support for BBI has nothing to do with ODM party leader Raila Odinga or Deputy President William Ruto's affiliations, other than the proposed 35% share of the national revenue allocation to counties. Kiraitu, who spoke at a funeral function in Kidangari, South Imenti, expressed his commitment to focus more on development.
We are with you, Governor. Even those who fight you, hata wale wanatukutukana kila siku, uwe na the humility to say, wacha wote wakuje pamoja. BBI, I support it. It was at 5%.
Matatu owners in Mombasa, led by Matatu Owners Association Coast Coordinator Salim Barak, have accused the government of double standards in the implementation of COVID-19 protocols. The over 18 Matatu circles in Mombasa are questioning why the government introduced the night train while they continue to bear the brunt of COVID-19 guidelines after the government made it mandatory for 14-seater Matatus to ferry a maximum of 8 passengers and 25-seater PSVs to carry 15. The stakeholders held a consultative meeting with Mvita MP Abdul Swamad Sharif Nasir, where they also questioned some of the requirements, asking them to fumigate all their vehicles and acquire COVID-19 licenses, with the lawmaker pledging to raise the issues once Parliament resumes its sittings.
Sasa hivi shule zimeweza kufunguliwa. There is a demand for the transport, na hawa watu wako na madeni, wanafaa kulipa magari yao, wako na watu wanafaa kulipa mishahara yao. Yale magari ambayo kwamba yanatumika, gharama yake lazima iweze kuangaliwa. Sasa kuna mambo kadha ambayo kwamba kilio kimeweza kuja, lakini mambo mawili ambayo kwamba ni muhimu zaidi tumekubaliana ni kwanza, through the Sharif Nasir Foundation tutakabidhi fumigation machines, because the law is that lazima waweze kufumigate hizi matatu zao. Again, the role of government is not to make money. The role of government is to facilitate its citizens to be able to make money. In that way, ile uchumi kila ukiweza kuzunguka inakuwa ni bora zaidi. So what the county government has actually previously been doing, wanawachaji wao kuweza kufumigate. Now we are saying, wacha machine zikae na the SACCOs. The machines will be donated to them. Kisha baada ya pale, wao SACCOs wenyewe wataamua whether katika individual matatu zao wataweza kucharge kitu kidogo, ama wataamua wenyewe hawataka kucharge, na hiyo pesa wakicharge pia ni yao wenyewe, haiendi kwa mtu, lakini pengine kulipa gharama ya zile chemicals. And the county government, what they need to do is to just simply come and certify ya kwa kweli hiyo matatu imekuwa fumigated, iwekwe hiyo sticker ya fumigation. That makes it faster, more efficient, because now we will have 18 points. The next part, and this one now involves the whole country. Section 2 of the Statutory Instruments Act require, and I don't know sometimes who is the one who has advised government, but Section 2 of the Statutory Instruments Act require that any guidelines need to come to Parliament. After they've already come to Parliament, then they go to the relevant Committee of Parliament. After going to the relevant Committee of Parliament, the whole House, which is now the representatives of Kenyans, then can be able to make a decision whether it is a worthy guideline or not a worthy guideline. And that is in the spirit of the Constitution, that is in the spirit of ensuring that we follow the laws in this country.
Some business news now. The Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife has gazetted the Nairobi National Park Management Plan and the Amboseli Ecosystem Management Plan. Making the announcement, Tourism Cabinet Secretary Najib Balala said the plan will enhance biodiversity and conservation to the ecosystem and will better the lives of locals. Last month, Balala launched the 10-year management plan that was developed through a collaborative effort of stakeholders.
Another 1,500 acres is being considered by the government, the additional Ngong forest by Kenya Forest Services. So our intention is to safeguard this park, to protect it, to expand it. As well, we are working with partners to make sure that the dispersal areas, which is the Athi-Kapiti Plains, is open for wildlife. I've appointed a task force headed by Dr. Helen Gishohi to look at how do we open the corridor between Nairobi National Park to the Kapiti Plain that will make the dispersal areas and the Nairobi National Park 79,000 acres. This is a great achievement for Kenya, but also for the world. Today also we gazetted the management plan for Amboseli National Park, as well as the Amboseli Ecosystem Management Plan.
And the Kenya Railways has officially made the 10 p.m. express standard gauge railway train a permanent feature that will be effective 9th January 2021. This is according to a statement by the Kenya Railways Authority that also said the option to book travel services will soon be accessible. The announcement comes just a week after the Kenya Railways announced that it will operate the third pair of passenger trains on its standard gauge railway SGR service operating at night. SGR has been operating 2 pairs of trains between Nairobi and Mombasa, with journeys starting at 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. Now, looking at what is happening across our borders, the neighboring Uganda is bracing for one of the hottest general elections in history after the campaigns ended today. Following weeks of intense campaigns, President Yoweri Museveni has been accused of seeking to hold on to power at any cost. The campaign period has seen candidates arrested, rallies banned, and dozens of protesters killed in the chaotic run-up to the 14th January election, which will be conducted amid surging coronavirus cases in Uganda. About 18 million voters are registered for the presidential and parliamentary ballot, which pits Museveni and his dominant National Resistance Movement, NRM, against a host of opposition candidates and parties. Museveni, who is 76 years old, has led the country since 1986, becoming one of Africa's longest-serving leaders. As Museveni says he's certain of victory in the election, his main challenger, Bobi Wine, spent most of the campaign in a bulletproof vest and combat helmet, wooing voters across Uganda. His rallies have been interrupted by security forces using tear gas and rubber bullets, where Bobi Wine was accused of flouting COVID-19 rules. Recently, Bobi Wine announced that he had sent his 4 children to the United States for the election period over fears for their safety. Now, even as top Democrats in the U.S. call for the removal of President Donald Trump, the U.S. president may not attend Joe Biden's inauguration on 20th of this month. Media outlets have previously reported that Trump was planning to be at his golf course in Scotland, but Scottish First Minister Nicola Sturgeon said she would not allow him to enter the country. Pressure is mounting for the removal of Trump, with his opponents saying they may initiate the process to impeach the president with a possible vote next week. Democratic Congressman James Clyburn said that impeachment proceedings could go ahead soon if Vice President Mike Pence and the cabinet do not remove Donald Trump from office using the 25th Amendment. Earlier on, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi called for Donald Trump to be removed from office immediately through the 25th Amendment. In a televised address, Pelosi said Trump had incited an armed insurrection against America, describing him as a dangerous man.
In calling for this seditious act, the President has committed an unspeakable assault on our nation and our people. I join the Senate Democratic leader in calling on the Vice President to remove this President by immediately invoking the 25th Amendment. If the Vice President and the Cabinet do not act, the Congress may be prepared to move forward with impeachment. That is the overwhelming sentiment of my caucus. To those whose purpose was to deter our responsibility, you have failed. You did not divert the Congress from our solemn constitutional purpose to validate the overwhelming election of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris as President and Vice President.
All right, we have come to the end of Newswatch here on Hope TV. Thank you so much for staying with us. My name is Tonny Omondi, and our sign language interpreter has been Fiona Mweresa. Have a blessed weekend ahead.